Hey there folks, and welcome back for another head shaving video. And today we're going to use HeadSlick applied with my brush and the Timeless scalloped with the derby blade shaving the head. We'll see how that goes. I'll actually apply the HeadSlick with a brush like I said before. Let me wet the dome and we'll come back and get started. Stay tuned. Alright, so here we go with our HeadSlick, and one of the things I learned in my face shaving video today was the HeadSlick actually lathers. If you put a little effort into it and apply it with the brush, it actually works quite well. I don't know why it took so long to try this, because it does a good job. I'm just going to lather up sort of the front part of my head first, and we'll work on that with our Timeless, and then we'll move to the back. No need in leaving that HeadSlick there to sort of dry out. Let's see how we do. Oh, by the way, we'll be announcing the winner of the Artisan Shaving Shop Barbershop and the Panad Clubman soap giveaway for this week during the course of this video, so you want to stay tuned for that. And also I'll mention, well no, I won't mention it in this video, I'll just do another video where I talk about it's raining outside, so I might have the opportunity to do a sofa session. I'll cover some things that have been said and are going around, or some things that were brought to my attention in that video, rather than to pollute the head shaving video with it. This Timeless razor, by the way, is fantastic. I'm a big fan of it. It does a marvelous job. One thing about using DEs, it tends to take away most of the soap, at least on my head, more so than it does on my face. I guess because my angle is different, so not as much opportunity to sort of go back over spaces like I do on my face. But the HeadSlick is slick enough where I'm sure I could probably get away with it to some degree. But I haven't been doing a lot of that. I have less control with my left hand, so I have to be careful in using the left hand. But I have been trying to use it more to develop a little bit of dexterity. I haven't, again, I just don't have enough experience to be super proficient at it. And, I'm not an experienced head shaver. I'm new to the head shaving game. Apply a little moisture to the back of the head. And so you always have to keep that in mind. Just because I've been shaving my face in a traditional method for quite some time now doesn't mean that that experience carries over to your head. Now, some of it does. But head shaving is a completely different ball game entirely, because your head is obviously much harder. The skin is thin, and you're really shaving against, your cranium. I mean, right on top of your cranium, there's a bone, whereas your cheeks are fleshy. You have a few bones like your jawbone around that, but your head is much harder, and the skin is thin, so there's not a lot of cushion there. So you have to be careful. Head cuts bleed profusely. Actually, face cuts, a lot of face cuts do as well, depending on where you cut yourself. But so you definitely have to be careful. It is a different ball game. More difficult in my view, although, as I develop experience, it may come much easier. Not that it's, it's not super hard, but with a DE, for me, it has been more difficult to get clean, get a really close shave with a DE on my head, whereas the carts actually, are doing better at this stage, because again, I'm not a experienced head shaver, and I know some people think I'm a heretic for talk about, hey, these carts can work if you need them or if you prefer to use them. Look, I'm always going to love my traditional gear like this Timeless. It's fantastic. I love it. Top rate. But I'm going to try other things too, and if they work, I'll tell you. And, I've made that video about the carts. Hey, if you're in a pinch and you need to use one, it'll probably work. May work better for some than others. I'm not going to guarantee you're going to enjoy it as much, but in a pinch, if you have a fresh blade, I think for most people, not all, but for most, they'll probably work for a shaved or two, or maybe even more, depending on your beard and how it grows and all the rest of it. But anyway, no, I'm not really a heretic of shavedom for trying some of these other things. You know, I've talked so long about all this traditional gear and how great it is. It's interesting to try to use this modern gear, these carts and things, to see if they actually work or not. Because for so long we've told everybody, oh, it's crap, they don't work. And I found they actually do work. They're just not economical. Okay, there was our first pass. Stay tuned. We'll come back for pass 2. All right, and feeling around my head, it feels pretty good. Actually, the Timeless did a pretty good job. Not as smooth as when I'm using the head blade or Schick Extreme or whatever, but overall, pretty doggone good. So I'm pretty happy with the first pass. And now let's go this way and see how we do. And you can certainly hear that. Or maybe you can, I can. Some good feedback there. Good stuff. One of the things I tend to forget about when I'm shaving my head is to flip the razor over and use the other side of the blade. And the reason that is because I've used carts more than DEs, and carts, you know, only have one side. So I'm accustomed to just, you know, rinsing it after a period of time rather than flipping it. Habits are something that, once established, are hard to get rid of. And sometimes you don't, or bad habits, I should say. Sometimes you don't even realize that you do it. So you have to make a concerted effort to keep them at bay. And this is, you know, bad habits on technique and things like that as well. If you develop bad habits with technique, you know, they tend to stick with you unless you make a really concerted effort to break those bad habits. In between this pass and the third pass, I'll actually do 3 passes with the DE today because people have asked me to. I'll try to do like a cleanup pass with it and see how that goes. I will announce the winner of the Panad Clubman and Artisan Soap Shop Barbershop giveaway. Great scent on that Artisan Soap Shop Barbershop. The first time I used that one, you know, I didn't think the lather was great. Get some moisture in here. But the second time I used it, and I used it this week, I used the lime mint, and it was fantastic. So it's probably something I did. It lathered just fine. So always be aware of that, regardless of your level of experience. Different soaps may behave differently in terms of how much water they take initially versus later, and things of that nature. So be cognizant of that. All soaps aren't equal depending on how they're made. You may need more water, you may need less water, so keep that in mind and keep an open mind. That's one of the things that I think people have a hard time with at times. If they have something that's bad initially, they just write it off as terrible. Sometimes they're right, and sometimes, quite frankly, they're wrong, because it just requires a bit of a different technique. Now, that said, if I have to dramatically alter the way I lather, I'm probably not going to fool with the soap because it's just too much of a pain in the butt. All right, I want to lather the way I lather. But with some soaps, you may need to do a little more work than others, or just not more work necessarily, but study the soap and figure out where the sweet spot is in terms of water. You know, water to product ratio is very important in some cases, some more than others. So if you have a soap that you're having trouble with, experiment with that water to product ratio and see, you know, how it comes out. See if you can improve with it. It just takes time, experimentation. At a certain point, I understand you're going to be fed up with it, and you're like, you know, I'm not wasting all my time trying to learn how to lather this soap. I get it. But plug away and see what you can do before you completely poo-poo a soap. Now, if it's a terrible scent, most likely you'll never like it or never love it. I have grown to like some scents that I didn't like initially, but that's a rare thing for me, although it can happen. So even on scent, sometimes you can grow to really like something. All right, let me rinse the dome real quick. We'll grab our giveaway and announce the winner, and then we'll come back and do a touch-up pass. Stay tuned. All right, and in comes the giveaway items for this week. The Artisan Soap Shop, Barbershop, excellent scent. I really enjoyed it. And Clubman, Panad Clubman Puck. And this goes to Jim McCullough. I think that's how you say the last name. Jim McCullough, please email me your address sometime this week, hopefully soon. And I'll get this out to you sometime next week. Thanks, Jim, for watching. Let me set this aside. We'll come back and do our cleanup pass. Stay tuned. All right, and we're back for our cleanup pass. And what I like to do is squeeze some lather out or HeadSlick in my hand and just feel around. And so I'm feeling some spots here, and what I'll do is feel and try to get these spots, feel, and just try to see if I can get these spots. And I'll sort of do this all over my head. Just continue to feel around when you feel a spot. I can tell you right now, in 2 passes, the DE never gets me as close as the carts do. That doesn't mean that the DE is an inferior head shaver, because a lot of people prefer it. But for me at this stage, it doesn't get as close. I can hear and feel a lot of stuff I'm having to pick up here. So let's, all right, there's a spot right there. There are a few spots on my head that are really difficult to get to. There's sort of a crease on the back of my head, and many people have that. That is very tough to get at times, and there's sort of a few, you know, nooks or crannies, and it's tough. Let's see. Feel pretty good on top. There's a little bit of a spot there. Let me get some more product here in my hand. And again, as you feel around, just make sure you keep it, you know, saturated with some, or hydrated, I should say, not saturated. Yeah, I did a pretty good job getting that spot. I do tend to have a lot more cleanup work. Pretty good, not bad. Let's see, right here is a tough spot. There's a very tough spot right here, kind of behind my ear. Not quite behind my ear, but right in through here. The grain runs in a funny direction. Very tough to get. And right on the back of my head in that crease is really a pain. But it's coming along. It just takes me more effort to get it with this DE. There we go. It's coming along, but I would have been finished much quicker with a cart, although, you know, we're not really in this to do it quick, are we? We're here to get a great shave, and that's what we're trying to do today with our DE spot right here. Let's get a little more of my product out of my brush. And again, I just sort of squeeze it out of my hand. Don't pull the knot of your brush outward. That's not good. Just squeeze it and gently, you know, take the lather out of it. And as you run your hand around, this is an excellent job to feel, because you can feel it, the stubble, better than see it. Because for a lot of people, stubble, you know, there's hair right below the surface, and it's hair you can't even get to. So keep that in mind. Okay, we're pretty good shape now. I'm pretty happy with it. I still have a spot there. I'll work on that a little bit off cam so we don't make a super long video. I'm not a fan of super long videos, and we'll come back and do our post and show you our aftershave. Stay tuned. And all right, in comes the magic made by witches, Thayers Witch Hazel. We did get to level cue ball. It took a lot of effort, but I did get there. It took me quite some time to really get all those spots. So what I would say is, with the DE, you know, it's certainly possible. It takes me quite a bit more time, probably double the amount of time that I can do it with a cart. And again, time isn't supposed to be something we focus on in traditional shaving. It's about slowing down and enjoying. But on the head, since I'm doing a face shaving video every day, you know, I can't spend all day shaving my head. So I have to try to make it efficient, because I do have to go to work. So we used the Timeless Scalloped. Did a really good job. With 3 passes, I definitely got closer than 2. Still wasn't perfect. I had to spend a lot of touch-up time. But again, maybe it will become great with experience. And I'll continue to plug away and use carts part-time, and DE and SE sometime until I develop more skill, because I'm not super skilled at head shaving at this point. The aftershave today is South Florida Wet Shavers. I'm always wanting to put a West in there. It's South Florida Wet Shavers. This is Key Lime Oud. Really nice scent. Unique. Made by K-Shave Works. Great stuff. Really, really like K-Shave Works aftershaves and soaps. Really, really nice. And I have that soap, but I just happened to use this aftershave today just because it's a rainy day outside and I wanted a little bit of brightness. And this will bring it. All right. I want to thank everybody for watching. Oh, by the way, the soap was actually HeadSlick applied via brush. It does lather and it does a great job. So good stuff, HeadSlick. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. Until next time, let's help make the entire world shave great once again.